So there's our gross pay. All right. Now let's do some formatting. Um, I don't like the way this looks. It's I got payroll data all the way left. It should be centered. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can highlight the top of these, and you can merge and center the cells. And see, it takes that data and it turns those 4 rows or those 4 columns into one column for that cell. So it merged them. Another way to do this, let me undo what I did. The way I would probably recommend doing it, and I'll tell you why. If I merge and center the cells, if I want to highlight it, it's going to highlight all those at once. I just don't have a way to go about it. If I want to insert columns, it gets a little messy sometimes. So the way that I would recommend doing this is to highlight here, highlight the 4 that you want to merge, and then right click. You can also control 1. It brings up this same window here, this format cells. If you go to alignment horizontal, you can do center across the selection. And let's say I want to fill this here. I'm just going to pick a dark blue. Now, white text on dark blue, you can't see it very well, so let's go to font. I want the color to be white now, and I want it to be bold. And let's see what that looks like. So you can see it centered my text, but these are each still individual cells, but it centered them across there, and it formatted that like we told it to. Now, scroll down. Now let's say I want to format these column headers and these employee titles, and I want to be the exact same. So I can select the cells I want to modify, and if I hit the control button and hold that down, I can select additional cells. Now, without the control button pressed, I couldn't do that. I would select the first 4 here, and if I try to go over and get hourly rate, see how the selected cell goes only over as far as my selector tool goes. So by hitting control and holding control down, I can select the cells I want. Now, I want to modify this. One of the videos I posted, I will modify it without doing the control 1. We'll modify it straight from here. So I would say I want this to be bold text. See, it automatically changes it. I want the fill to be a little bit lighter. We'll go to maybe like a gray here. Something like that. Fine with me. I'm not too picky. And I don't want that to be centered. I want each of those to be centered. So that's what that looks like now. So that's looking better. And now, if I want to take my data and fill that as well, let's see. We'll do that color there. Like I said, I'm not too picky. Just kind of showing you guys an example. Now, you can see that my data here is centered to the right. And I want that to be centered in the middle, or it's aligned to the right. I want it to be centered in the middle, so I can select these cells and center it just like that. Now that looks good, but if I was to do a print preview, I'll show you what it will end up looking like. If I do a print preview here, there's no lines here. It's kind of, if you had a lot of data and it wasn't as big as this, it'd be kind of confusing to look at. So I can go in and select my cells, and what I did here is you got a lot of options. You can bottom border, top border, left border. It's pretty self-explanatory, and I encourage you guys to play around with this. Now if I go in and look at my print preview, looks a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit easier to follow. So now here's the assignment that I want you guys to do. I want to calculate averages. So now the nice thing is automatically formats that for you on the next entry. So averages. I want you to give me the average rate of these cells. And I'll go over here and I'll do an example. I'm just going to enter some random text. And if I want the average of these cells, just like I did this multiplication, I can reference other cells. Alright, there's my average. So I want this to be a calculation. I don't want you guys to get a calculator out and figure out the average, because you can do that. 14.25 plus 22 plus these and divide by 5. I want you to use Excel to do that math for you, just like I did here. So take the same thing I did here and do it in this cell. Alright? Hours worked. I want you to do the same thing with hours worked. Alright? And gross pay. And then in this, I want you to do totals. Okay? This will be a little bit different. Totals is just a sum. So if you want to sum something, you can do equals sum and then go and select your numbers. So I want the total of all the hourly rates. I want the total number of hours worked. And then I want the total of all the gross pay. That'll give me how much, say, this department spent or whatever it may be. So here I want an average. I want an average here. I want an average here. I want a total here, a total here, and a total here. And then I want these cells to be formatted just like these cells. So just like I went in and formatted these cells, I want you to take the same thing and format these as well. And then use formulas to fill all this in. Alright, that's going to be one of the assignments for this week. Now, the next thing I want you guys to do is I want to do another calculation. Let's say that there's a federal tax rate of, expand that, let's put tax in there. Let's say there's a federal tax rate for each of these employees at 30%. So that's going to be 30% for all of them. I want you to do net pay. Or you can do it two ways. You can do a shortcut, but I would prefer you put taxes paid, right? And so that's going to be the federal tax rate times the gross pay. So there's going to be a dollar amount in here in all these cells when you're finished. Okay? So it's going to be a formula. You're going to do equals this cell multiplied times this cell, enter, and then fill that all the way down, just like I did here. Alright, just like I did in that cell there. Then I want to do net pay. Right, this is what these employees are going to take home. Alright, so with net pay, you're going to take the gross pay and subtract the taxes paid to get net pay. And I want a formula here as well, and this is going to be a dollar amount. Like this. And then I want you to take these same calculations you did here, do the same thing here. So you can do an average of these cells, an average of these cells, an average of these cells, and do the same thing with total. I want a total of just these cells. Don't include the average in your totals. Do a total of just these cells, a total of these, a total here, total here, total here. And then I want you guys to clean this up. So take this same payroll data and center that just like we did earlier. Center across the selection just like we did earlier. Now you notice it didn't fill it in this time. So you have to go in just like we did before. And use that same fill. Okay. And then I want these cells to be formatted with the same color as the others. Alright? And then I want this to be a percentage. So if it doesn't come in as a percentage, go to number, Then put it percentage with no decimal places, just like I have here. Alright, taxes paid and net paid. I want these to be formatted as a currency with 2 decimal places. And then if you do that, when it comes in, it'll look correct. Same thing. Your calculations down here need to follow the formatting of the cells above them. And then go in when you're finished and do the borders around all of it. And then I want everything centered, just like that. So when you're done, you'll have formulas. You'll actually have numbers in here, but just like when I go to grade this, when I look in these cells, I need to see formulas and not numbers. So it will show numbers down here on the spreadsheet, but if I go in here to the formula bar, I'll see formulas for these cells, these cells, these cells, and all of these. So I recommend watching the video on how to format. They probably do a lot better job than I do in showing this. You can spend hours and hours and hours on YouTube seeing examples of how to modify data, enter data, do formulas. I mentioned in the very first post, I just hit F1 and I'll bring up a help screen. And if you're looking for averages, you can right here you can type in average, enter, and it's got the average function. It shows you how to use that. Same thing with sum. And the net pay, like I said, it's going to be gross pay minus taxes paid will be net pay. And you'll get that value there. So I want you guys to go through, do this, figure out how to do the averages, figure out how to do the totals on the cells above them. This will be the assignment for this week. If you have any questions, please post them to the forum or email me, and I will get with them. I'll post my solutions or whatever I can do to help. And as always, you guys are welcome to come by my desk at any time. You can catch me, and I'll be glad to help you there as well. Good luck.